In the silence of the trophy room, where the echoes of past conquests resonate, we discover how to lead as men. It is not solely about the trophies we proudly display, but the courage to learn from defeats, humbly lead, and forge a legacy worth more than any physical accolade. Together, we'll discover how to lead from the trophy room.
Hey, welcome back to Leading from the Trophy Room, episode number 7.
Who's host today, Beau? You going to be host?
You are hosting today.
All right. I'm your host, Jeremy White.
And I am your co-host, Beau Mills.
I love it. Hey, Beau, before we get started, what does the hat mean? Pray for ducks.
What does the hat mean? Jeremy, I'm a duck hunter. So I'm going to give a little shout out to a company, Burley Beau. It's one of my new favorite companies. They make awesome manly shirts.
Wait. Do they sponsor this?
Burley Beau. So Burley Beau, reach out, sponsor Leading from the Trophy Room. My name is Beau.
Okay,
Burley Beau.
I got it.
All right, whatever.
It.
Well, they came out with this hat. It's like just came out last week, and I'm a duck hunter, and I'm a pastor, and it says "Pray for ducks." And so you're about the 4th person that have asked me, "What does this hat mean?"
Like, does it mean pray that ducks are coming in?
I'm just saying, pray for the ducks because I'm going to shoot them in the face when they do come in.
Okay.
So they need some prayer.
So, and then they could be a trophy.
Then they can be a trophy in our trophy room. Hey, we need trophies in our trophy room.
We do need trophies in our trophy room.
We speaking of the trophy room and trophies, you can see about half the trophy. I don't mean to bring light to it. The guy who runs Jag, our production guy, he doesn't like that you can only see half. It doesn't suit well with him. But the reason you can is because we have a table in front of us.
Oh man, we have
Jeremy,
a table.
why are we at a table now?
Beau,
We've never been at a table.
It's because we love feedback. And some of the feedback that we've gotten from guys that listen to, there are more than 2 guys that listen to our podcast, is that
There's 3.
they're tired of looking at our legs, our shoes, and our crotches. Okay. So
we have a bigger issue.
So we've got a table.
Stop looking at our crotch.
So we've got a table, and so there we go. There we go. So hey guys, what are we doing? We are leading from the trophy room. Beau, we talk about leadership. We talk about what it looks like to be a man. And today,
parenting. We've talked about parenting, being a dad,
coaching last time,
being husbands.
Hey, today's episode is going to apply to all men. All right. So today's episode, we're going to talk about what it means to be great as a man. So this past Sunday, I was in at the Granbury, Stonewater Granbury after service. There was a man that came up to me. My wife brought him to me. She goes, I knew you would want to meet this guy, Jeremy. She introduced me to him. His name was Jim. Jim's 96 years old. 96. He looked like I would have thought the guy 60.
Did he have hair?
He had all kinds of hair. Okay. But he had that look, just kind of that John Wayne tough guy look. And I asked him, I was like, hey, so like, what's your story? Well, part of his story was he was learning how to fly a plane that would be one of the bomber planes during World War II.
Wow.
He was learning as soon as the bombs were dropped in Japan. Like that's where he was. And so he began to just share a little bit of his story, a little bit of life. And here he is, 96 years old. He's lived a lot of life.
So did he end up flying the bombers?
So he wasn't one of the guys that flew the bombers,
Okay.
but he was like one of the guys that would have been next in line. If we would have kept flying those raids, he would have been there.
Wow.
And but as I talked to him, like I could just feel that I was around greatness. Like this was just a great man. That generation is called the greatest generation. And it got me thinking, Beau, when we think about men being great, like what does it mean to be a guy that's or a man that's just great? Any guys come to your mind that you're like, man, that guy's he's great. Like there's just another level. He's more than just a good guy. Like he's great.
Yeah. There's a lot of men that come to mind. There's 2 in particular. My grandpa. So my mom's dad comes to mind. I grew up with him, of him just pouring into me, giving to me, teaching me things, teaching me about life, showing me what it looks like to be a godly man. And then ended up being my high school baseball coach, but I knew him since I was born. His name was Tom Buckley. So Tom, if you listen to this, you're a great man and you're a man of influence in my life. He just, my dad was gone most of my life, 9 months out of the year because of baseball, professional baseball. And that man just really stepped in and gave his time, gave just walked with me through life. He rented a boat for us on the lake as I'm going into high school to have like that talk with me of like, hey, this is what you're about to experience in high school and go through, and remember that you're a man of God and a man of integrity. And this is the trouble. Anyway, he's just a great man. And so Tom Buckley and my grandpa come to mind, but there's many guys in my life. And I think, Jeremy, you just saying that if we're being honest with ourselves as men, I think we all strive or want to be great and want to be remembered as great. And we're really hard on ourselves as men. And so I think we classify ourselves as failures every day because we fall short to what we idolize. Yeah. And so anyway.
But I think greatness is one of those things that we can recognize it in other men, but we're not exactly sure how to strive for it ourselves. Yeah. So guys, today, Beau and I want to talk about kind of 3 different qualities that we see in greatness. And let's just get this out of the way. Like, first off, like in order to be a great man, like God's got to be involved in your life. Jesus has to be first and best in your life. Like that's a given. But what we're talking about is like specific qualities or things that we see guys do that truly are great. So
yeah, and what I'm excited for this episode is we recognize that not all men and most men didn't have that influence in their life. Like they didn't have that man to look at, to role model after. I was fortunate enough to have that in my life, to have my grandpa. And I do want you to think, if you're listening to this right now, I want you to think of the man in your life that you see as a great man. Maybe it was when you were a kid and you only had a small experience with him, or maybe it's now. And just picture that man as we walk through this stuff and strive to be that man. So we recognize you haven't always had the role model. And really that's our heart and desire behind this podcast, is to just be ourselves and point to some great people in our life and ultimately point to Jesus.
Yeah. So Beau, when I think about a great men are givers and they're not takers. They're givers and they're not takers. What does that make you think of?
The 2 guys you asked me to think of, I talked about giving their time. Tom Buckley gave his time away from his family. He had 3 daughters to pour into me, if not daily, weekly, monthly. Took the time to pick me up at 4 a.m. Funny story real fast. He took the time to pick me up at 4 a.m. We drove to the lake, which is about a 40 minute drive. And we get there about 5 o'clock in the morning. Well, the ramp to rent the boats, we didn't have a boat. We were renting a little John boat. It didn't open until 7:30. And so we're like, crap, we're just sitting here. And I caught the biggest bass of my life sitting on the shore waiting. So anyway, Tom gave his time. Like he gave time to pour into me, to think about someone else. And he rented the boat. Like he gave us money. So he gave money to lead for an example of an experience with me, with the boat and fishing and being able to talk into me.
That's good.
And then he gave his past. Like he got to reflect on himself with me and pour into, hey, these are some areas where I went wrong in my life. And these are some areas that you might run into that I ran into in the high school. And he spoke into that. So he gave his experiences to me so I could learn from them and not have to walk through them.
Yeah. So I think of guys that are ready to serve others instead of being served themselves. This morning, one of the great men in my life right now is Randy Weeks. You know Randy?
I know Randy. I love Randy.
He is Oklahoma boy that grew up, great pastor, and now retired, but he's not retired. Okay. Usually a lot of times when you think retired, guys just chase a golf ball or just play for the rest of their life. Not Randy. So Randy's devoted his life to giving his life away. So this morning on my way to work, I called Randy. I said, hey, Randy, what you been up to, man? He's like, man, I just got through giving away. I gave away 200 coats yesterday to these coats, like winter coats, jackets in Oklahoma. And he said that's what I've been doing the last 2 days. I've been giving away winter coats. And I was like, man, how many guys that, I don't know what Randy is. He's probably upper 60s. 65. Probably. Yeah, that he's retired and he's thinking of ways, he's looking for needs, and then he's looking for ways to address those or to give to those, whether it be financially, whether it be just blessing somebody. That's what what great men do.
Mm-hmm.
They give of their time, they give of their resources, they give attention. Think about giving attention, Beau.
Yeah, and I know Randy loves to fish, and he lives on the lake. Randy could just get in his boat every day and go catch catfish. He loves a jug for catfish.
Yeah,
but he doesn't. He every morning almost he's sitting with a man at breakfast. He's blessing the waitress that comes and serves them. He's calling everybody in his phone to bless them with his time and talk with them and encourage them. And then obviously he's giving resources. He gives cars away.
Yeah.
I mean, he has a nonprofit called Why Not Bless. Like that's his motto in life. Like, why not? Why wouldn't I be giving my time right now? Why wouldn't I be giving to people? That's just God's laid that on his heart. And he is, like you saying, Randy, he gives, he's the ultimate giver.
Yeah. So I think of great guys that see great men, they see a need, and instead of saying, hey, somebody ought to do something about this, like they do it themselves.
What if I'm a guy and I feel like I don't have much to give? Like, so you're telling me to give, but I'm the one that's like, Jeremy, I don't have much to give. Like what do I have anything to give? Like, well, how do I get, like, if I feel that way, if I'm sitting in my truck right now and I'm driving to Fort Worth, okay, it's 5:30 in the morning. I'm going to work for the 7th day in a row. I'm exhausted. Bills are stacking up. My kids need me, like, what do I have to give?
Yeah, I would say just look for any kind of opportunity to give, like anything. It may be a word of encouragement to the person that pumped your gas, or, when you go into the convenience store, it may be an extra $1 on a tip that the waitress needs, or an extra $10 on that tip. But you're just looking for ways to be a giver and not a taker. Well, one more story. We were at Beast Feast a few weeks ago. It's a big man event that we had here at church, and you're giving away prizes. You remember you gave away a half a beef.
Yep.
And the guy that we gave that half a beef to,
John West.
Okay, John West. After we gave it to him, I saw him out in the parking lot, and this dude looked at me, like with humility in his eyes, and said, "Hey, Jeremy, I've been a taker a lot in my life. I don't want to be a taker no more. I want to be a giver. So give that beef to some people that need it."
It's a great story.
Like that's what I'm talking about. Yeah. Like he's taking a step into greatness of saying, hey, it's not about me. It's not about getting. It's about truly giving anything I can to help others.
He came and told me the same thing before he ran to you, because he wasn't in the parking lot yet. And he like has tears in his eyes because of how blessed he feels because what God's done in his life. And he's telling me the same thing. And as he's telling me that, a man walks up and speaks into him because that same guy, he's like, I don't know what he does for a living, some kind of route that he does in trucking or something. But he found out that this guy that he knows, his mom is in an old folks home, and she just feels horrible because nobody comes and sees her. Nobody. So that guy, weekly, maybe daily, I don't want to get the story wrong, stops in with his truck, pulls up to the old folks home, and he just spends time with her.
Wow.
He doesn't really know her.
Yeah.
Doesn't know. But it has just, and the guy who's speaking into him and telling him the story is saying that his mom now has a new life. Like she's happy. She feels like somebody cares for her, feels like somebody sees her because he's given his time to stop in. Like that story blew me away. The guy hardly knows her. That guy, John West, you're incredible if you listen to this. That's a guy who even said, he goes, I don't have much. I'm not sitting here saying but I've been blessed and I'm tired of taking, and I just want to be a giver.
That's a great man.
It's awesome.
That's
a great man.
Hey, what's another quality?
That's good.
What's another quality?
Another quality. We want to be men that engage and not retreat.
Okay.
So I don't know what you had written down on.
Yeah. I was thinking like engage and not
escape.
Well, when you say retreat, like that's what we retreat to. We escape.
Yeah. And so as I'm thinking through this, nowadays, so you said that generation of the man you used to open up this is the generation of greatness. Is that what you call them? The great generation?
The greatest generation.
The greatest generation. The greatest generation didn't have YouTube.
Oh, no, they didn't.
It didn't have Xbox. It didn't have Facebook. The greatest generation had to engage in people. They had to write letters. They had to share their feelings through the letters, through the people, to people. They couldn't get on Facebook and just write things, but not have the face-to-face contact. They couldn't go just sit in their room and shut their door and play a video game. And I'm not hating on the people who love video games. I'm not hating on the people that enjoy social media. But if you're using, what I'm seeing nowadays is men especially, we're using those as a scapegoats to exit the world and our troubles for a minute and dive into this. But that minute, if you look on your phone right now, your phone will tell you how much time you're spending on certain apps. And if you take out your phone and look at that right now, I guarantee you Facebook, YouTube, all this take up the majority of your time.
Okay, so Beau, you're hurting me a little bit now, okay? So as a man, like I work really, really hard. I put in my time. At the end of the day, man, I need some me time. I don't want to be with the kids. Yeah. I don't need my wife giving me 50 things to do. Like I just want to escape. Like what are you telling me? I can't escape and have my me time?
You can have your me time. You can get your me time. My me time looks like sitting in a deer blind every once in a while.
Okay.
But as I do that, I did that the other morning and you were texting me Bible verses. Remember I texted you back like, how cool is this? I get to sit in a blind and worship God at the same time. Like it was super cool. That's the time I'm getting for my me time. But Jeremy, we're called to be leaders. Like, yeah, you are working hard and yes, you are dealing with your kid. That is your job. Like you're called as a man to be a leader of your household and you don't just come home every day. So I think I'm talking about the daily routine and the daily habits that you have developed to escape certain scenarios of your life.
So you're hurting me. You're hurting me because I do this, okay?
Every guy does.
I've got this chair. I've got this chair. It's like my escape.
It's a lazy
chair.
boy.
Dude,
it's called a lazy boy.
It's like my escape hatch. When I sit in this chair, I can tune out everything and everybody.
You can be lazy.
Man, I'm telling you, it's like my chair and it's my escape. Misty can be 5 feet from me, but yet she could be a million miles away because I'm escaping there. And honestly, to be just gut level honest, part of it's just selfishness of, hey, I don't want anybody to ask me to do anything else. I'm tired of working. But like when I think about my grandfather, who was a part of the greatest generation, he didn't do that. Like he was engaged in conversation with his grandkids. He was engaged in conversation. He used to call his brother on the phone once a day and just talk to his brother. Like he was engaged in relationships. And yeah, it's convicting. And that's my confession is that I'm tempted to escape.
Yeah. I think it's just a generational problem we have in today's era. You go to a restaurant and you see a family sitting there. 90% of the time, the kids are going to be on a phone or an iPad and the parents are on their phone.
Yeah.
I mean, our faces are down. We're not even having conversation about our day. We're not asking the kids about school and what's going on. We're seeing bullying at an all-time high. We're seeing suicide at an all-time high. We're seeing depression at an all-time high. And there's a reason, because we're not engaging. We're not having a relationship with people, human beings. There's that show Alone. You ever seen the show Alone? Yeah. And if you haven't watched that, you can watch it. It's a great show. They drop these people off in random places with nobody around. And they see how long they can stay out there. And the longest person to stay out there wins like $1 million or something. $1 million, a lot of money. I sit here today and say I'll stay out there as long as possible for $1 million. Some people don't even make it through the first night because of loneliness. Wow. Like when they're truly isolated and knowing that no one's going to come the next day or be around, their family, their kids, like isolation destroys us. And we think it's like helping us or getting away. Another scapegoat these days are alcohol and drugs. We're seeing that at the highest level too.
So alcohol is like a really big deal these days. I know it used to be more like a party thing, like a fun thing, but it seems like today people are using it to medicate themselves more than ever. And they would never say that, but it's the thing that they run to get through the day.
Well, and it's become so recreational. Everything anybody does has a beer involved or a drink involved. You're playing golf, it's involved. You're hanging out with friends. It's involved. You're going over for a sporting event. It's involved. It's in everything. I mean, outside of the work, it's everything.
Yeah.
And so it's just become a habit where people just pick up a drink. And like you said, I don't think they even realize what they're doing to themselves.
Yeah.
They're creating this alter ego. They're creating this, I have to have this to be liked. I have to have this to be fun.
To have courage.
And and I have to have this to forget about some of my problems in life. It makes me feel better. That's all the lies that they believe about themselves. And all they're really doing is just escaping.
Yeah.
They're not fixing. They're not getting better. They're just escaping.
So recently I've talked to some guys that their spouse has come out of alcoholism. And one of the things that they said is, after my spouse came out of that, like, we connected like we've never connected before.
Mm.
And that's exactly what we're talking about, because before they were escaping, but now they're engaging in relationships.
That's
so,
good.
hey, Beau, we need to go on to the last one.
What's the last one, Jerry?
All right. So the last one is that great men take risk, and they don't just stay in their comfort zone.
They don't say that. So what's the difference of like when we talk about comfort zone, is that the same thing as escaping, or like what's comfort and what's a risk?
So think of comfort like it's a place where you're safe. Okay. It's
your lazy boy.
It's not your lazy boy.
That's your escape.
It's your regular routine.
There you go.
It's your regular. You ever go to same restaurant, order the same thing all the time?
Don't go outside the box.
Don't go out.
Like
but every once in a while you take a risk.
Sometimes it pays off. Sometimes it doesn't.
So do you like sushi?
I love sushi.
I bet there was a day that you had to take a risk and try sushi. When did you? How old were you?
Oh man, I can't. I love sushi though. The risk was probably when I went from like the California roll, which is just like your faux crab, and to like raw fish and eel. That was probably the risk that I took. I was like, okay, I'm going to get outside the fried, the cooked sushi and go into the real stuff.
And now you're really enjoying it.
I love it. Yeah, I love it.
So there's that moment that we all have that says, okay, I've got to get outside my comfort zone. In great men, if you go back and look, there's some kind of defining moment in their life where they chose to get outside their comfort zone, and they got outside their comfort zone, and they signed up to be a part of the military to go bomb other countries. I look right now in the world right now and look at all the men that are making their way to Israel. You're even seeing people in Israel right now sign up to be a part of the IDF that had opted out of it earlier. Why? Well, they see something worth fighting for, and they see this opportunity, and they're taking a risk. Well, as men, there are opportunities in front of us all the time, and we can stay in our comfort zone and be average, or we can take a risk and let that be a defining moment in our life, and it changes everything.
Yeah, and knowing that it's okay to fail sometimes.
Heck yeah.
Like, and some of the best victories come in failure. So I think about great men. Jeremy, you've been a great man in my life. We've shared this story on the podcast before of you running out to the parking lot when we first met each other, and you saying, hey, are you serious about this? And if you are, let's meet. And you took the risk. Like you took the risk of what's cool about having this as the last one that we're going to go over is it sums up everything that's involved in taking a risk. Like taking a risk, you've got to give. You gave your time. You have to engage. You engaged in me. You engaged in on a Thursday night meeting up. But you took a risk. And through that risk, you've helped me. You've shown me what it's like to walk as a godly man. You've been an example to me. You've poured in times of my life, all because you took a risk, got outside of your normal comfort zone of the normal people you engage with, and you engaged with someone else. So
yeah. So Beau, I kind of think of it like this. A phrase I use for life is I want to do what's right and trust God with the results. Okay. I'm just called to do what's right. I'm just called, if there's a risk that I need to take, I'm going to do it, and I'm going to trust God with the results. If it's failure, hey, that's what God's going to use, that failure to grow something in me. If it's success, well, then praise God. I was at a man event this past weekend, and it was incredible. Cleburne campus, they were actually out at the ranch, and And I was in a group, and one of the men got real vulnerable in the group, and we were sharing strengths. And he says, "Hey, I think I may have the gift of healing." He goes, "I pray for people and they get healed." He said, "But I'm sometimes afraid to pray for people because I'm afraid that they may not get healed." I looked at him and I was like, "Dude, even if you're 3 for 10, I want you to pray for me."
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Good.
Like just go for it, because take that risk. You never know what God's going to do.
It's awesome. Yeah. Man, I appreciate you. You know, that we started this podcast to just be ourselves. Every time before we record, I look at Jeremy, I said, "Hey, remember, we're just being ourselves on here." And who you're seeing.
Are you sure people listen to this?
I don't know. No one comment. Can you comment? We don't get to see everybody. Comment below if you listen. Guys, we want to be great men.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I long to be a great man. Like I want to be a good husband. I want to be a great husband. I want to be a great father. And I just want to be a great man. And it starts with being a great man of God, and then everything falls underneath.
Yeah.
that.
And guys, it's not too late. I know there's some guys that are listening, and hey, you're my age. I'll turn 50 this year.
50.
Yeah, I'll turn 50. And you may be thinking, "Hey, is it past me? Is greatness past me?" No, it's never too late. Dad, if you're listening, it's never too late. You know, grandpas that are out there, it's never too late. Like our challenge for you is the same challenge for us is that we would engage, that we wouldn't escape, that we would be givers, not takers, and that we really would take some risk.
That's good. Hey guys, thanks for listening. Episode 7, Leading from the Trophy Room. We'll see you next time.